To a young person starting off doing a startup, either have the skills, learn the skills, or partner with someone who has. No person has it all.
No unicorns, no brands, just hardworking people who built their business from the ground up, sharing their experience so others can learn. Presented by Larissa Feeney from Kenore, this is Real Business Conversations.
Hello, my name is Larissa Feeney, CEO and founder at Kenore Finance and Business Services. Today, we are meeting an entrepreneur who successfully transitioned from senior engineering at giants like Boston Scientific and Pfizer into essential occupational health services. With over 20 years of technical experience, Dan MacCarthy co-founded MedWise Occupational Health Services in 2005. We'll hear how he managed their growth from a startup to a substantial business, drove innovation, and navigated complex compliance challenges while building meaningful relationships. It's a pleasure to welcome the co-founder of MedWise, Dan MacCarthy. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Larissa. Thanks for having me on.
It's lovely to have you, Dan. And I'm really interested just to hear about the story of MedWise. But first, maybe tell me, why did you leave engineering for occupational health back in 2005?
Well, I loved engineering. It just gave me so many challenges and opportunities to learn. I graduated in 1985 and I was lucky enough to get a job in a medical device company. And I stayed with that company for 9 years and I helped it grow, and I had a opportunity after 9 years of moving to Galway and working for a new startup there called Boston Scientific.
Wow.
And I was the 74 tire.
Right.
And it was pretty much the same deal, transferring product lines back to Ireland.
Okay.
I got married one morning. Deirdre told me that she wants to go on a 4-year specialist training course to become an occupational medical specialist. I was fine with that, and I got a job in Wyatt in their solid dose site. I worked there for 2 years, but I had burnout, and I just felt I had to leave the company and just take a break. And Deirdre had finished her course. We just looked at each other and said, all right, what are we going to do now?
So the timing worked out really well then. You know, Deirdre was finished her training and you needed a break. So two heads came together, I suppose, and you guys came up with the idea of MedWise. Will that be right?
Yeah, I went back to do some project work in Galway on quality systems. I was working with an ex-colleague of mine. We were going to do a medical device startup, and Deirdre wanted to establish a private medical clinic.
So there was a possibility of you doing a startup as well as MedWise.
Yeah, it was. I was at crossroads. I backed all three options. I told Deirdre I'd establish a company for her. Mm-hmm. So the project was really, Deirdre told me, I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to work close to my children, and I want to set up an occupational health practice. So she gave me the brief when I worked on it as a project. In the meantime, I was working in Galway, and as a sideline, I was looking at the feasibility of setting up a medical device startup.
And did that ever come to be?
No, it didn't pass its feasibility. Thank God.
I was going to say, if you were suffering burnout before you started MedWise, if you were doing two startups at the one time, you surely would be suffering burnout again.
Yeah, I think when I'm under stress, I tend to double down. And that would be a maladaptive coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone could take that load.
No. So you were given the brief, which is fantastic because it sounds like Deirdre was very clear in what she wanted. And that was, I suppose, the founding spark for MedWise was her desire to work for herself, to set up an occupational health business. to be close to the children. Maybe talk to me about the first year in particular, because making a decision to do it and actually doing it and making a success is a very different story. So how was the first year in business for you?
Yeah, it was great. We just lacked a few small things like customers, demand. We had to figure out what services to offer.
And how did you do that?
Well, this is going back 20 years. The occupational health service sector was different. Typically, if we were going to do this by the book, Larissa, we would have set up in a city.
Okay.
We'd be Dublin based. But as I said, one of the parameters of the briefing was we'd be close to home. So we set up in Naas. So straight away, we were a regional player. And then we looked for our natural customer base, which would be small local companies.
Yeah. At that time, anyway, you were limited because of where you were based.
I think we would have ramped up a lot better and faster if we were city based.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we made things difficult.
Yeah. But that was a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the time, the standard occupational health model was that local companies would have a company doctor. And the company doctor was usually general practice. There weren't that many specialist occupational health service providers.
Whenever you say that, Dan, do you mean there wasn't any specialist occupational health doctors in the country or in your locality?
Both.
Okay.
There were specialist occupational health services in Dublin, Cork, Galway, city-based. I think we were about the first specialist occupational health provider in a regional area, and we started small. I started with 2 doctors, 0 demand, 2 doctors, a premises.
How did you fund it at that time?
I guess we were lucky. Through all the moves, we managed to buy and sell houses while we were doing moves. So thinking back, I believe it was self-funded.
Yeah.
Because it was a shoebox. It was the least premises in town.
Yeah.
So it was quite small. So I guess the funding would be the capital cost of kitting out that surgery, Larissa. Then I just had to worry about the working capital, having enough money to operate the business from a startup.
And you said there was 2 doctors at that time, and they're not cheap.
We started with 2 doctors, so straight away there was a high salary cost.
Yeah.
We needed to find customers. We needed to basically understand what services we were going to offer. Straight away, it seemed that the ramp up for pure occupational health would be slow because we had to win customers one by one, and a lot of it was through word of mouth. So I needed to establish other services that would pay the rent and salaries. So we got into travel health.
What is travel health? Is that like travel insurance or?
No, travel vaccines. This is going back to 2005. The Celtic Tiger was in.
Yes, we were doing a lot of traveling, I suppose, weren't we, in 2005?
People were going to Thailand, Vietnam,
New York for the weekend, although we didn't need vaccinations for that.
Maybe a tetanus jab, Larissa.
Maybe, yeah.
So we were a franchise of the Tropical Medical Bureau and used their model.
Okay. So that got you, at that time, because I was going to ask you about your customers and how you got your customers. So the travel health product, that would have got you customers like me, would it? Like one by one? Or would it have been? Yeah. Okay.
It was B2C.
Yes.
We were dealing with customers. We were dealing with the public.
Yes.
The traveling public.
That isn't what came to mind, because whenever I hear occupational health, obviously I'm thinking B2B. But so at that time it was B2C. And do you still do that?
No.
Okay. So that was very much, you were in a place, you were a startup, you needed customers, you needed to generate cash flow. So it was something that offered you the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it was something to pay the bills. We were still very clear in our mission statement, which was we want to be a specialist occupational medical practice.
Yes.
But in order to actually get there, we had to be a lot of different things to different customers.
Yes.
So
that's very normal. In the startup, whenever a
yeah.
business starts up, you'll say yes to anything.
Yes. Also, back then, 20 years ago, 2005, there was a property boom.
Mm-hmm.
So we set up a revenue stream for mortgage medicals. So if someone is going for a mortgage, they need mortgage insurance on their life and health. And the mortgage companies started to use us to do their medicals.
Okay, very good. So that was another little income stream that you were able to use, I suppose, until you got to your ultimate customer.
Yeah. And so when you're in the water struggling and you get thrown 2 life buoys, one of those was insurance medicals and one was travel health. So that bought us time. That really bought us time because it took time and patience to build a portfolio of occupational health customers, company by company.
Well, my assumption is that process is quite long. You're looking for the sales cycle. Once you get them in the door of a company, it takes a long time to convert them to a client. How did you even get in the door, though? How did you get your first company as a client?
Our first company, I think, was in the Kerry group. So one of their sites had a full-time nurse and they needed a doctor, occupational health doctor, to visit their site maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. So that was our first gig, Larissa.
Very good. That's a good one to get.
Yeah. So we built up a portfolio, customer by customer, over time, and it took several years.
So that's your B2B model. And I would imagine that once you manage to secure the customer, even though it took a long time, you're probably likely to retain them.
It's sticky, which is a double-edged sword. So it's hard to move a customer to us, but it's also hard to lose a customer if we're doing a reasonable job meeting their expectations.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So it's a great model once you get the customer, but getting the customer is the challenge. So it took you several years to build up to a reasonable portfolio. And as you were doing that, you were supplementing your income with a B2C model that was able to afford you the opportunity to build the business and to continue pay the salaries that had to be paid.
Yeah. So we grew. We very quickly outgrew our premises. So I guess we went from startup, and then our biggest pain point was just space. We didn't have enough space to operate out of because we started small. We started modest. But in the second year, I was looking around for a new premises.
Wow.
So we moved into 1,000 square feet office space and fitted that out as a clinic. So I guess the first thing I did is I wrote a business plan. The business plan wasn't really for the banks, it was for us.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Well, if we were to carry on as a business, we needed a bigger premises. It meant we needed finance. So I had to write a business model or a business plan to share with the banks and basically pitch for finance. So most banks said that's fine, but you have to match the capital. So go 50-50 on the venture. We had someone to advise us on the business, and he told me afterwards he was giving us the last rites, because he didn't tell us. We moved. We took on debt. I think shortly afterwards we had the crash. So the phone stopped ringing, Larissa. The Irish travelling public stopped travelling.
Yes.
There was no more jabs. People used to phone up and say, "Are you the place to do the jabs?"
Okay, you were known. Yeah.
Yeah. So we hit a slump in travel medicine. We hit a slump in the insurance medicals we were doing. But we had a base of occ health customers.
At that point, you must have been about 6 years or so into the business. So you'd built up a reasonable portfolio of companies.
Enough. It still wasn't critical mass, and our price point was low.
Yeah.
We were basically converting customers from their company doctor, which would typically be a general practice, to a specialist occupational health practice.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do that with the market fee for occupational medicine for the standard fee.
Okay.
It had to be priced down.
Okay.
We were doing okay revenue-wise, but turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. We were having a cash flow problem. We weren't that profitable. So it was make or break.
I think that's very typical of, again, startup phase, you're busy fools.
Yeah. And our product was priced to go.
Yeah.
I had to talk to our customer base, tell them we were increasing our fees.
How did that go down?
I figured we'd lose customers because it was a big jump.
Yeah.
I think myself and Deirdre were also taking some pain because our salaries were below market.
Again, very normal. We self-sacrifice.
Yeah. And we were topping up with the company paying us back the loan we gave the company. But I think we had to second mortgage the house in order to get that money. So we were running fast. We were busy fools, but we weren't really making much forward progress as a family or as a business. So it was a crunch time. I thought it was a binary option, shut it down or reset. So thankfully, as you said, occupational health, it's very niche and we've sticky customers. So our customers stayed with us, which I think is a testament to the value.
Did you lose any?
I don't think the
No.
loss is...
I think that's a great lesson. I think that's a great lesson for business owners in general, because I see it all the time where business owners, particularly in the service sector, are reluctant to put prices up, are reluctant to price properly in the first place, and then are reluctant to put prices up because they think they're going to lose customers. So your experience was you didn't lose one.
Yeah. I think I should write a book about how not to start a business.
I think you made all the mistakes that we all make. So maybe you should, because then we can, pass on your learnings to the next generation. Can you give me any indication whenever you say it was a big jump in terms of price increases? Was it like 20%, 30%? Do you remember on average?
I think it was 50%, Larry said.
Wow. So 50% price increase and you didn't lose one customer.
I kind of like the drama of it, it was do or die. And that's pretty much what I told the customer.
That's unbelievable though. And does that make you think that you should have upped them by 60% or 70%?
Yeah, I'd often talk to this and I have a simple model. It's greed versus fear. The fear is we'd lose our customer. And then the greed is don't leave anything on the table. But,
yeah,
it wasn't about maximizing profit. It was about keeping the company going.
Yeah. Which is fine whenever there's a crisis, right? But keeping the company going isn't a long-term viable strategy for maximizing value within the company over the longer term. So it's fine in a crisis. And you got through it and the company didn't die.
Yeah.
But then you went on to continue to build it over the next few years to where it is today.
Yeah, I'm thinking back, Larissa, I think the next pain point was cash flow. Because my memory of that time was just working really hard just to collect the money owed to us so I could meet salaries at month end. And it was a bit of a trudge for about 2 or 3 years.
Just on that point, because I actually have it written down here, the question, in your business model, how do you bill? Like, I'm guessing because your customer is a company that you're giving some type of credit.
Sure. Standard terms, 30 days from invoice date.
Okay. And you found yourself chasing that credit every month to get money in to pay salaries.
That's my memory of the time was spreadsheets, phone calls, emails, collecting, checking the bank balance, making sure we'd meet the month-end requirements. So to me, I just label that the valley of death. So
Yes. Oh, no, I completely agree with you. I've been in that particular valley myself. How did you manage to get out of it, though? You're not still in that place now because you can't do that level of stress over the longer term. It doesn't work. What changed?
we had a good quality service. We were growing. I mentioned earlier that our purpose was to be a specialist occupational health clinic. So we were able to jettison travel medicine. The insurance medicals died because the market fell. So we were a pure play occupational medical clinic at last. We grew that business. I think we grew the staff of doctors and nurses to meet demand. We also launched a mobile medical clinic.
Okay.
We bought a van and we custom built it to be soundproof. So we were able to travel to factories around Ireland where there's high noise levels and do the hearing checks on the workers without the customer having to send them away. And
Yeah. So with no interruption to the customer's productivity on a given day, or minimal interruption to the customer's productivity on a given day. Did you ring up the factories around the country, Dan, and say, I have this service that I offer. We can come to you?
oh, Larissa, I'm awfully passive. I didn't chase.
Right.
I didn't find my prospects. We had a good brochure style web page because I think back then everyone was on websites rather than Facebook or Twitter, and
Yeah. Yeah.
digital marketing was your website. So it was a simpler time.
Yeah.
So we basically opened our shop window and said, this is a service that we're doing. And we waited for the customers to come to us. So thankfully, enough of them did.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was good value to the customer because it minimized their cost and hassle. We systemized our service so that we were able to do the service at workforce scale. So I used my experience and skills as a manufacturing engineer to set up a system.
That must have taken some investment, though. And it sounds like you have continuously, over the course of 20 years, continuously invested in the business, from new product lines to new staff to new premises, and then working your way through the recession and then to investing in a product line that's a mobile product line almost. Has that been a feature of the journey, that investment?
Yeah, very much so. I'd like to say we were able to bootstrap and self-fund, but at nearly every stage, we went out for finance on the back of a business plan. So I moved premises, I write a business plan. I set up a mobile medical unit, I wrote a business plan. Same as what an engineer would do for a capital project.
And you said a little while ago that the business plan is not always for the bank, so you're doing a business plan because you need to raise finance, and that's fine. Do you use it as part of your strategy planning anyway?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The business plan is mostly for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I just have a saying, it's ready, fire, aim, without a plan. It's easy to go astray. So the plan is our roadmap. Plan the work and work the plan. That was it.
And that itself is excellent advice. So do you always have a business plan on the go for a period of time? So you know exactly what you're doing, exactly what the goal is, and you're working towards that goal via the plan.
I think the way I'm wired, I like to have goals. If I look at my CV, it's just a list of projects. So yeah, find what's needed, structure it as a project, write a plan, execute.
Yeah, I like it.
And always be asking, what's your biggest pain point, and try and solve that.
So always focus on the customer's pain.
No, I'm talking about our pain, which is
your pain.
I'm a lot more sensitive. In terms of customers, well, we have to give them a service of value. What's of value to them? Yes, our customers are coming to us with pain points, but I was really saying the business too has pain points. At any
Yeah.
one time, it could be lack of space, could be lack of people, could be lack of demand.
Yeah.
At any given time, there's always a pressing problem.
So focus on it. Yeah.
Either focus on it or take the pain.
We say that in this business, you know, that if we identify there's an issue, once we focus on it, sometimes there's an issues and we know there's issues but you know, we might be busy on other stuff. But if we focus on something, it's much easier to resolve it as long as it's inside of your control, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of this is in the subconscious. It kind of nags at you, and then there's a trigger or a critical point is reached, and then it becomes conscious. And then it typically bothers me till I have a solution and can sort it out.
Dan, that's really fascinating because you've essentially taken your engineer brain and applied it to business, and where you identify and you work on every problem as a project, and you develop a plan and a goal and you work your way through it. And that's it. That's what business is actually a lot of the time. So where is the business today after 20 years? It is 20 years, isn't it? Yeah, 2025. So 20 years since you set up the business. So it's your 20th anniversary year.
It's our 20th anniversary. We have survived 20 years.
So congratulations on that, first of all, because
Yeah.
that's no mean feat. Give us a sense of the business today, the people that are working in it, and what's the size of the business today?
We have 12 people. We've 12 staff.
Very good. Yeah.
A lot of our staff are part-time.
Okay.
So we've always had a strong value for work-life balance. And when we're hiring people, we ask them what they want, what works for you. So quite a lot of our staff work part-time, permanent staff, but part-time, say 3 days a week, or mornings only. Doesn't matter, but I think giving people good work-life balance at the start is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely today it's valued, isn't it? That work-life balance and the flexibility that allows. So you have a team of 12 and your services, it's all B2B now, is it, or is there any B2C?
It's all B2B.
And how do you find that market today?
Oh, it's good. I think if we're clear about what we're offering and try and understand our customers' needs, it's fine. A lot of our services would be standardized and systemized, and we've long-standing customers who understand us and we understand them, so that's fine. A lot of our growth is from small companies who will use us maybe once or maybe once a year. So we have a system for kind of onboarding, once-offs, one and dones. We have a very large basket of small customers. We've no one dominant customer, which stabilizes demand. So it's a plus.
Not having too much reliance on a small number of large customers, or even worse, one large customer.
Exactly. So we're not a hostage to any one particular customer.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And that's the same in my industry as well. And I suppose in a lot of service sectors, if there's reliance on one customer or client, well, you're just very vulnerable, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's not ideal. So do you think that the business is in a much more stable place now than it would have been in the early days, or is it still growing strongly?
We're not growing. One of our biggest constraints would be finding and hiring specialist occupational doctors. They're just not there.
Yeah.
Mm.
And even the competition for them, I would imagine, Dan, would be quite severe. Yeah.
At the very start, I mentioned the business was a structure built around Deirdre so she could practice. It's pretty much the same deal. When we grew the business, it's just enlarging the structure so the doctors could carry on their practice.
Yeah.
And also bolting on non-doctor revenue streams, nurse-led revenue streams, because it can't be all on the doctor.
Yeah. To be less reliant on the doctor, I suppose, is better for the business.
Yeah. Well, especially when doctors are scarce as hen's teeth. It's just difficult to find one and recruit one and keep one.
So that's your major limiting factor. And it's really limiting the potential in terms of growth, because you can't grow without the professionals.
Yes.
And you can't get the professionals.
Well, our main avenue of growth is choked for us. So I have to look at other avenues, other revenue streams that don't need a doctor. So we've done well with the mobile health surveillance unit. I looked at other possibilities. I think the next big project would be linked to our hearing tests.
Okay.
So, like I said, we travel around Ireland, we visit factories, and we do audiology on site at workforce scale. And we kept being asked about hearing plugs. Those customized hearing plugs that you see the rock stars wear, the ones that fit your ears. So, yeah, we looked into that, and we have a business plan. We have a partner company who 3D mold earplugs. And yeah, we're pretty much ready to launch. So it fits very well with the audiology business.
So that's the next business plan that has to be executed then, or the current one that's in progress.
Yeah, we've done the business plan. We've partnered up with a company that has been manufacturing these custom fitted hearing plugs for 20 years. I think Ireland is a bit slow in adopting this, but I see Ireland as having, there's so much pharma and medical device people here. So we've kind of looked at that market and said, okay, let's see if these guys would like to try out custom fitted hearing protection. Because when I worked in pharma, when we had to go down to the processing areas, we were given these single-use yellow squeezies, that earplugs we had to put in our ears, and those don't always work very well, and they're quite pricey because they're single-use.
Yeah.
I just thought that a fitted hearing plug, it would last longer, it would cost less over its total lifetime, and they're easier to use, and there's more comfort.
Yeah. And for you as a business, it's getting you away from the reliance on doctors, and it's diversifying a little bit away from the service element of what you do, because it's much more product-based, is it?
It is, yeah, but that's my home base. I like tangible products.
I think it's easier in many ways. There's unique characteristics of a service business that make it difficult. And we've already spoke about one of them, for example, pricing too low. It's very, very difficult to price too low with a product, because you've got a tangible product there that you know how much it costs. It's slightly different whenever you're selling a service. So from that aspect, you're diversifying a little bit, which has to surely de-risk the company as well, which is good.
Yeah, it just fits so well with our current service.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. And so is the market for that product just Ireland then? Or you're just focusing on Ireland?
Our partner company is Belgium, and there's several similar companies, and it's quite a long established market. So, BMW plants, Volvo plants, they're all kitted out with these ear protection. So I think Ireland is just slow to change over to this new tech.
Fascinating. Well, best of luck with that new product line. Dan, I have one more question for you. You've been in business with your wife for 20 years. And you've been through everything from cash flow issues to finance issues to team issues to customer issues. You've seen it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to write a book, which is good to know. So that's one that I look forward to reading. But in the meantime, before the book gets written, what's the advice you would give to somebody who's starting out in business today?
Oh, that's a big question. I learned business by doing. It's kind of a chicken and egg situation. To a young person starting off doing a startup, either have the skills, learn the skills, or partner with someone who has. No person has it all. It's very difficult to start up on your own, having the right people in the right roles, because a business can solve technical issues. We've a wealth of options for systems to run our businesses. If you don't have the right people doing the right roles, I think you're building on foundations of sand, and every business is a people business.
That is the truth, isn't it? I think that's really solid, sound advice, Dan. Thank you very much. Dan MacCarthy, co-founder of MedWise Occupational Health Services. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks. A pleasure, Larissa.
Thank you for listening to Real Business Conversations with Kenor. For more information on this episode, see the description area of this podcast or visit our website, kenor.com. Remember to press follow on your podcast player now so you'll get a brand new episode every single month. This podcast is produced by DustPod.io for Kenor Finance and Business Services.